Alrighty, guys, let's talk about rarities really quick. I'm gonna try to speed run this. But anyway, okay, so these are the rarities of Dokkan Battle, right? So you have N, which I think stands for, I think it's normal. I think. Don't quote me on that. Then we have rares, which is R. Then we have SRs, which is super rare. We have SSR. I think this is super rare. I think. Then you have UR here, and then right here, which is ultra rare, and then you have LRs, which are legendary rare, right? So let's discuss this really quick. You can see what characters you have like in the character list right here. So let's talk about Ns. When it comes to N characters, like Ns and stuff, this is gonna be mostly in every summons, that you do. You can ignore these characters. You can either use them for training partners, or you could just sell them. Either sell them or use them as training partners. When it comes to rares here, it's kind of like the same thing. You could just sell them or use them as training partners, and you can awaken ends to rares, which I don't recommend, but it is possible. And or sometimes you could just receive them already awakened sometimes, and that's why like these characters are in, like these three up here are ends, but they're rares because they're awakened, which is why you see this star right here. So like I said, with rares, just sell them or use them as training partners. When we move on to super rares, these are kind of useful in the fact that, yes, you can sell them, you can use them as training partners as well, but for the most part, you can use these characters for super attack levels, which I will explain in the next part, part of this video. But yes, all these characters, I recommend you just save them to raise the super attack level of certain characters. So that does explain super rares, and you can awaken super rares into super rares or SSRs. All right, let's talk about SSRs here. So when it comes to SSRs, most of the characters that you get from your summons and stuff like that, most of the characters that you get from your summons are going to be super rares, right? Free-to-play units would be SSRs for the most part. And any character you summon for will always start for SSRs. So just keep that in mind. So that's SSRs pretty much. You can awaken them to ultra rares or URs. And for example, like we just discussed, this is an SR, but it is an SSR because you can tell by the star right here. That just means that they're Z awakened. That's what the star pretty much means. That means that they're Z awakened. So yeah, let's move on to URs here. So when it comes to URs, for the most part, these are all going to be SSRs that have either transcended ultra rared, or so they are either transcended ultra rare characters, or they are Dokkan awakened ultra rares, or they can also be Z awakened as well, right? So most of these characters that I have up here are Dokkan awakened, but if we move down a little bit, these characters are SSRs that are Z awakened into UR. So that's why they already have the star and stuff like that. But so pretty much let's go to awaken here in the awaken section. That's why, so these are, like I said, these are all SSRs that are just Z awakened. So if I click one of them, I can actually awaken them, and this will be their Dokkan awakened state. So that kind of explains URs. You don't want to UR your characters. You don't want to sell these or use them as training partners unless, I don't know, maybe you just have like an overabundance, I guess. But for the most part, you really don't want to do that. You just kind of just want to keep your ultra rares and stuff like that. So let's move on to LRs. So this is the highest rarity in the game for the most part. So when it comes to these characters, you obviously want to keep them, but you can only really obtain LRs either from rewards from the So from rewards, from Battlefield, or if you awaken your SSRs and they can Dokkan Awaken into LRs. An example of this would be, let's go to here. There's a character that most free-to-play players will be able to grind up. This is B-Pan here. She's a free-to-play unit. So she starts off at SSR, and you can Dokkan Awaken her, which this is her Dokkan Awaken state. And then you can awaken her again, and then this is her at LR level. So that covers LRs, and let's move on to summons.